Well, it has been so long since I record something for this channel, so if you are still here, hello! My name is Rafael Reich, I am a Brazilian Yu-Gi-Oh player with over 20 top cuts and 2 ICS wins, and today I'm gonna come back to this channel. Usually I do YouTube content but just in Portuguese in my main channel, but a few years ago I decided to try to make a few videos in English, but then life just caught up and it was tough to keep both channels. But today I have an interesting topic where I wanna talk about Vanquish Soul deck. The Vanquish Soul deck is a deck that I have been playing with a lot of success since January of this year, and I feel like my results with the deck are pretty good, so I want to discuss with you guys why I think Vanquish Soul is actually the best deck of the format, even though it doesn't have the same results as some decks like Dracotail or even Yami more recently. But I have been playing Vanquish Soul for so long and I have been having a lot of success. I got second place at the Team YCS La Paz, I won regionals, I topped regionals, and while the format keeps developing in some very different ways, there is something that is consistent between the format: the success of the Vanquish Soul. Especially when we look at the YCS 300, for example, the first event of this format, where out of the 3 YCSs we had 2 wins for Vanquish Soul and 1 second place for the deck. So this shows up that the deck is super strong, even though it's not making the same numbers in conversion to top cut. Dracotail is stopping way more than the Vanquish Soul, but the results of the tournament don't lie and you should consider playing Vanquish Soul. And today I'm gonna argue about why, in my opinion, I think Vanquish Soul is the best deck of the format. So with all of that being said, let's proceed for the video. This is my Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro deck page with my results recently, and if you can see, since January 11 on São Paulo Regional where I won with Vanquish Soul, all my results there are playing the Vanquish Soul deck. But there were a big change on the format. After the Latam Remote Duel YCS, we had the blind ban list that got us into 1 Holy Soul, 1 Joku, and 1 copy of Case for K9, but also gives us 3 reasons to play. And honestly, you are gonna see these results and it's possible that you are gonna think like, oh, you are just playing the Vanquish Soul deck because it's the deck you know, you didn't want it to change. But that's not the truth. I actually, after playing the Latam Remote Duel ICS, I was looking at the new version of the Vanquish Soul deck and I was like, okay, this deck definitely isn't it. It's just not feeling correct anymore. Like, I felt the deck without the 3 copies of Holy Soul, the 3 copies of Joku, it turned into a weaker version than the one I was used to play with triple Joku, triple Holy Soul, like the pre-balanced deck. So I started testing for the YCS La Paz with the results from the YCS 300 in mind. I knew Vanquish Soul was a solid option, but there was something else, and I tried basically every single other viable deck, but mainly my testings were to go for the Yami Dark Magician deck with the Azamina engine, with Diablo-Star, stuff like that. And something just didn't felt correct. I was playing much games, like a lot of games, playing Dwelling Book, playing in local, and something just fell off of everything that was not a Vanquish Soul deck. There are so many games where you are gonna lose just because you never had a chance to play at the first point. And that was the case for the Yami, where you could manage to play super well against hand traps, but in some specific scenarios the deck felt super weak into specific cards, but especially when I tried Dracotail, because when I tried to play the Dracotail deck, the amount of non-games where I just lost for stuff like Retaliating, I lost for stuff like Dimensional Fissure, stuff like Dimensional Shifter, were just like unbelievable. And then it started making me reconsider that maybe I should not play those decks. Like, I feel that in average I am a better player than my opponent. I have plenty of results to say that, and I play a lot, I test a lot. So I wanted to have a deck that is able to win against my opponents because I'm better than them. I don't want to lose to an opponent just because he activated a card that doesn't let me access my graveyard, for example, and that would destroy me. So after intensively testing every single deck of the format looking for the Team YCS La Paz, the only reasonable deck to play, in my opinion, was the Vanquish Soul. Not only because it has such a great matchup against the best deck of the format, in this case Dracotail, but also because there is no such thing as tech cards people are playing that destroys Vanquish Soul. You are never gonna get hit by Dimensional Fissure or Retaliating Sea because you are playing a deck that just avoids every single one of those cards, and not only avoid every single one of the cards that people are playing, but there are no cards like that to beat you, and you can also play this kind of card. So your advantage against the more accomplished decks of the format, they just keep adding and adding up. They just keep growing way more insane because you get too many advantage. So we have a deck that people are not expecting. We have a deck that people don't know how to play properly, a deck that people are not deck building to win, and a deck that can play all the auto-win cards. This felt just like amazing to me. Everything on here felt correct to start playing Vanquish Soul again, and I really tried to play anything outside of the Vanquish Soul, just because on my testings, I just felt like the deck was weaker than it was before with triple Holy Soul, triple Joku. So deciding to keep playing Vanquish Soul was not something that I did just because it was more convenient to me. No, that was not the case. It's just that for real, I felt like this deck was the best option on the format, the best deck that gives me the best opportunities to win, and also based on the fact that people don't know how to play properly against the Vanquish Soul deck, is also super possible to start to turn small mistakes from your opponents into big win conditions in some certain matchups, because people are gonna try to interrupt you on the wrong points, people will try to play over aggressively against you, and playing this deck properly, you should be able to turn those small misplays, like one small misplay from your opponent starts to add up on the advantage you can generate with the Vanquish Soul cards. So we have a deck that has a great matchup against the best deck in the format, that has no counters basically, and play the counters for every single other deck of the format. This felt just amazing, and my results with Vanquish Soul were amazing as well. Outside of the tournaments you are seeing here, with the second place of the Team YCS La Paz, the winner of regionals, and top 8 being X1 in another regional, I also managed to go X2 in another regional and still get some very important world points for the grind. So playing the deck for so long and so consistently, it kind of makes me feel like I am good enough right now to teach you how to play the Vanquish Soul deck properly. That's why I posted on my MetaFi a complete guide to how to play Vanquish Soul K9 with more than 3 hours, I feel like almost 4 hours of recorded content, but also all my full tournament experience over the 4 tournaments I played, and also for the future 2 tournaments I'm gonna play. In this case, YCS Guatemala on this weekend and YCS Las Vegas on the next weekend. Everything is gonna be updated on my masterclass, but here I really believe that the content that I'm showing here is super good to play better the Vanquish Soul deck, to understand the full potential of this deck. So if you are interested in learn how to play the Vanquish Soul K9 deck properly, I could only recommend you guys to check this MetaFi guide that's gonna be just on the description of this video. And with all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed my small comeback to this English channel. Please let me know if you would like to see more videos here, at least 1 video per week, for example. And yeah, if you have any other questions you wanna make before buying the masterclass, please hit me up in any social medias or here on the comments. I'm gonna answer every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for your time, and see you next time.